Catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.
Africa's gaming market is expected to top $1 billion in 2024 despite a global slowdown. And this is a special episode dedicated to talking about the trends that shape 2023, trends that's going to shape 2024, and what exactly the gaming industry here has been up to. And Chima Ifeji, the co-founder of PlayerOne, will be moderating this particular episode. It's a special one. And we also have on this episode, I think they would most likely be speaking from a business perspective in terms of game development industry. We have an ecosystem builder, Oscar Michael, game studio founder and veteran of the Nigerian video games industry, Shola Edu, and then a game studio founder who's focused more on social and corporate gaming, Suzan Adinoyi. I would hand things over to Chima, who is the moderator for this session, who would continue the conversation. We had the first episode and it was a wonderful conversation, really, really insightful conversation. This is the second part and I'm ready. Chima, what's up?
Hi, Anthony. Thank you once again for allowing me to be a part of this. I like talking about gaming too. Thank you. Really glad to have you guys on here. Suzan, Shola, and Oscar. I want to believe that, like me, you guys are passionate about gaming as well. And that is why you are, building something, either a business or a community around it. Right? I'm hoping by the end of these conversations, we'll be able to probably establish what a lot of the trends that we would expect both in the community and the business side of things when it comes to gaming in Nigeria and Africa. And we will get to learn a few things by the end of this conversation, right? So we'll start with getting to learn about our guests, right? And the first person we have here is Suzan Adinoyi, right? Suzan, it's very nice to have you on here.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, please, could you take a minute to tell us about yourself and what you do?
So my name is Suzan. I'm the founder of Zanoza Entertainment. It's a social gaming and team building company. So what we do majorly is to leverage the power of games to enhance human engagement, learning, entertainment, and just make sure that we're able to pass, messages across, but leveraging the power of games. So we have currently over 200 plus games in our catalog that we use for trainings, learning and development programs, team bonding. We also own a walk-in space, and we're actually launching a major space in a couple of weeks as well. That also brings in, a mix of the board games, video games space, VR, motion movement, escape room, and murder mystery. So I'm really excited about that as well. And for me, when it comes to gaming personally, it's beyond just video gaming. We love the competitions, we love the challenges. It's game design is the core for me. In a nutshell, that's what we do at Zanoza.
Well, that's pretty awesome, Susan. In the last session we just had a few minutes ago, we're talking about how some of the trends we're expecting in 2024 are growing communities and more gaming hubs. And here you are immediately telling us about what you guys are trying to set up. I really love that you're focusing more on the experience and the team bonding and the human part of it, because for a lot of us, we tend to either play games by ourselves on our cushions, or maybe we are esports players and we'll play virtually with people all around the world, which is all fun and good. But there is always the human, the physical part of it that can be missing, right? It can get a bit lonely when you are in your house and you've not opened your door for 2 days and you're just screaming and beating and fighting people online, right, for playing video games. So the idea of being in a hub or being with co-workers or teammates and friends, and you guys are playing a game, whether a video game or a board game, going towards a goal, it's a good one. And I think it's something amazing that you guys are doing. I can't wait to see how that would go and to learn more about it on this call. Yeah, thank you so much, Susan. So we'll move to Oscar. Oscar, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Oscar Michael, and I'm the founder of Africa Communicate, and we're basically a launch pad for stakeholders in the African video games, a massive and interactive media industry. For us, we very passionate about building communities because the space is small. So we believe in people pulling their efforts together to build the industry. And the video games industry, to us, feeds into other forms of new media. So you're looking at animation, you're looking at comics, you're looking at extended reality. And what we're basically working on is to bring these stakeholders together to see how we can build a sector that is sustainable, an industry that people can actually build a thriving career within. Yeah.
Oh, that's really awesome, really, because I think that while the interest in gaming is growing exponentially across the country and across the continent, I think that finding the right communities and finding the right stakeholders and people generally to create a thriving, create a thriving game or create a thriving game community is not so easy, right? I mean, if you're going to start looking for maybe developers or motion designers or 2D or 3D animators to maybe help build a game that you're working on, it might be a very expensive task, or it could be a very, very stressful task, right? But with what you've explained that you're doing at Africa Communicate, which is to help empower or serve as a launchpad to all stakeholders, I think you're essentially saying Africa Communicate would be like the go-to place for anybody looking to do anything in gaming. You're looking for personnel, you're looking for other people that are interested in what you're doing, your peers, maybe staff or engineers related who are in gaming as well. They can all come to you, or they can be around your community and find those people. I think that's an interesting take on it, and I think that that's going to be very pivotal to whatever growth that the country or the continent experiences in the coming years in gaming. So really amazing to meet you, Oscar. Can't wait to hear more on what you guys are working on. So we'll move on to our third guest, Edu Shola. Shola, could you give us a bit about what you're about?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Edu Shola. I'm a creative and tech entrepreneur based here in Lagos, Nigeria. Yeah, and I run Deluxe Creation Studios. Deluxe is a media and interactive entertainment company based here, and by media interactive, I mean we make games. We make and develop games, and most importantly, we also do animation. So we started off at an animation studio back in 2010, and we just decided to take it a step more, because I've always had this notion that games are like the apex of everything that we do: animation, design, arts, whatever it is that we do. Games are like, so because you require all these things like animation, design, storytelling to make the kind of games that we wanted to make initially. We all fell for the God of War, Siphon Filter, those games like that.
Yeah.
So those are the games that we had in mind. But now the company, we've kind of expanded our horizon, and aside from action and entertaining games, we're also making educational games on the side, and games that actually raise and sensitize people. But we are still beyond our core games, which is the action and entertainment games. Yeah, so that's me, and I'm representing Deluxe.
Okay, and thank you so much for that of Deluxe Gaming. So I'm curious what you guys are working on, because you mentioned a lot of action, adventure, gaming, and animation. Would you say you guys are focused on working on these games for mobile platforms or console? Because I'm asking this because I haven't really seen or heard about a lot of African or Nigerian companies on the console side of things. It's mostly developing mobile games.
Yeah, you're right, and that's because most of the reason why a lot of people are doing mobile games, because we started with mobile games, and we have more mobile games than even any other platforms that we're working on. The games are not even out yet. In terms of, we're making a game for PC and Xbox right now. Okay. We're making 2 games actually.
Yeah, that's nice.
And they are not out. They are not out yet, for majorly because mobile is a lot easier to like push out.
Okay.
Or you get to find out later that it's a lot difficult to market. But in the real sense, it's a lot easier to find out, to make and push out. So that's why most African developers and Nigerians like to develop for mobile. But we've seen a huge shift, like based on the data from the last Gamerton organized by Africa Communicate. And when I was discussing with Oscar, it was even shocked that a lot of people are making games for PC now. And we have more PC games in the competition than mobile games, which is something that's
really
was
amazing.
shocking at first, but it's expected because with companies like Xbox, with companies like Xbox coming in to support and organize meetups, that alone will also make people want to like start making games for other platforms, which is interesting and which will open a lot more opportunities for us. Yeah, but it's an interesting ahead.
Oh, that's really dope. I'm very excited to hear that. Really, is it possible for us to get a sneak peek or an idea of the games that you guys are working on, or is it still top secret?
Oh yeah. I think our games are not even a secret because we've been exhibiting at different events. I think for about 2 years now. Okay. Urban Fury, which is a fighting game based set in Lagos, and basically what we are trying to do is our games are really big on cultural representation. So we want people to play games with characters that look like them, play games in environments that they can relate with, and also languages and narratives that they can also relate with, which is really, really big for us. So Urban Fury, then we have Adventures of Chike Lost in Meta, which is also Nigerian, based in Lagos. Then we also have Rasta Santa, which is a 2D game that is coming to Xbox. I think that we're releasing that one by December.
Okay.
Because what we want to do now is we want to have like our own projects that we can also green lights at every season. Yeah, you understand what I mean? So you see what Mayakari is doing, and we're like, let's be inspired. Every time she puts her song every Christmas, so we want to do something like So we have some games in the pipeline, and we're pretty much because we realize that we've made so many games, and we just need to click a button to get our games to other platforms. So why can't we just do it? Okay. So because if you have a mobile game, you have a game that is already available. All you just need to do is polish it a bit more, because that's very, very much required. Polish it, then you put it on other platforms.
Okay. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm really excited to see what you guys are pushing out, right? And I absolutely will be keeping an eye on how you do that and your other presentations going forward. Yeah.
Thanks,
Suzan, you guys, you said you focus on creating gaming experiences to foster bonding between people, teams. How has that been? I'm asking this because I know that I've actually been worrying about how gaming hubs are able to keep the lights on in Nigeria today, right? Because I know it's an expensive business, right? And people we're growing toward it, but there's always been and still kind of is this idea that gaming is if you're playing games, you're not serious, right? So how are you guys able to successfully market your business and make sure that enough revenue is coming in to keep the lights on month after month, considering the crazy economy that we are in right now?
Thanks for that question. First of all, we focused more on B2B. Okay. When we started the company, we started as a community actually. And in my dreams, as at the time, we thought we were going to create, just design games and then pitch it to publishers to take the load off us, right? So my own was, let's design this game, let's look for the publisher that will be interested in it, we give them the games to design, and then we keep this community. That was what I thought I was going into. And then of course some of the activities we're doing within the community attracted the esports stakeholders, and then somehow we sort of got into that space. And then when we started looking after COVID, because this space actually has been a long time coming, way before, I think it was 2020, we had a couple of investors, and then when COVID happened, everybody pulled out. It was like, this doesn't make any sense, and all of that. And then in 2020, I think it's 2022, we got the opportunity to set up a space inside Hard Rock Cafe. We're still doing community events, but a lot of the people in our community were working professionals. Okay. So from later in the year 2020, that was actually when we started getting into the B2B space and just looking at how games can teach certain skills, and how HR managers can actually get people to improve their skills in different areas like collaboration, problem solving, negotiation, and some of these other skill sets, right? So I'm trying to answer the two layers of it, because we have the B2B side and we have the hub. So we just set up like a video game space, and in all honesty, I don't think personally, I didn't put a lot of eye on it. Yes, we do have someone managing it, but then because we partnered with a restaurant to, run the game hub, so in terms of inflow of people who were coming in, we didn't exactly have to do much in terms of marketing. So those who are already coming to the space get to play inside the restaurant. So that's the model we sort of took. Now the new space coming up is inside the theme park. So we sort of look at that area, because marketing is a big investment. So you also have to, as a small business, you also have to look at ways in which to partner and collaborate to get more people into your space. For the B2B aspect, we start focusing more on what are the pain points for companies, right, when it comes to employee engagement and consumer engagement. People want to go to, I think a lot of people are very much aware about, what when you see a marketing ad, right? So how else can you be creative enough to get people to interact with your products without feeling like, you're putting a lot of marketing nonsense in the place, right? For employee engagement as well, how are you able to ensure, right? If I tell you, so I'll give you some examples. We've run and unfortunately we don't share a lot of those videos at the moment, because some people allow us to share videos, while some people don't want the faces of their employees out there. So that space is a bit more what's the word now? It's a bit more private, right? So in terms of what we do at the moment, we have games like Infinite Loop, where there's an application on the VR headset, which can only be accessed by us in terms of implementing for corporate organizations. So it's not a public game. So people wear the headset, and the whole storyline is that somebody is locked in a virtual world, right? And you're supposed to work together with your teammates to get the character out of the virtual world, right? So whoever is wearing the headset is seeing something else, and then every other person around that team is supposed to help, the leader, the person wearing the headset, to break the guy out of the virtual world. Right? So that's an example of one of the games that we have. After that, we then do a debrief, right? So what did you guys learn within that process, and how can you apply it within your organization? We also have like a team assessment tool that we use to debrief as well, so that at the end of the day, the human resource managers get like a report of what everyone has agreed on, that we're going to take this back within the company. How can you track that, and how can you also ensure that this works within your company, or you guys have said, we're going to do this and we're actually going to achieve it, right? So not many people are doing that. Whenever we try to explain what we do, and we say, we're a social gaming and team building games company, people feel like, okay, it's board games, or it's Jenga, or it's snooker. Right? It's a bit different. So as soon as a lot more people start experiencing us, we start getting calls from some of the much bigger companies, the Shell, British American Tobacco. We've gotten calls, like in December we did how many MTN jobs we did. We got a call from Coca-Cola. We couldn't take the job because we didn't have enough hands, right? So now we know that there's also like a gap in terms of skill set as well. So that's really how we've been able to just try as much as possible to keep the lights on. B2B is a good space. It's basically we're still using games, but how can we use this to impact the KPIs of organizations and ensure that they grow and improve human engagement?
Oh, wow. That's actually really interesting, because what you've just explained is you essentially help businesses, HR managers, teammates to learn how to become better problem solvers, right? So people learn to solve problems better, not only by themselves, but as a team, right? And these are things that I think are essential for business environments to thrive. If you know that you're in a team where, you can trust your colleagues to handle issues, or you can discuss an issue with your colleague and you know that they're capable of giving you good solutions, I think it makes a workplace better, right? And you're very correct. When I started to read about or think about what you guys do, I thought it was the normal team bonding, Jenga games. What's this other one where people shoot each other around a thing, right? So actually I think this is a very unique approach, and I can absolutely see why you would have the big boys knocking on your door asking for you to come run programs with them, right? I think you guys are going to get to a much, much bigger place, right? And I'm like wishing you all the best as you guys go on with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to pose the same question to you, Oscar, right? Because Africa Comicade has positioned itself now as a platform that serves as a launchpad for stakeholders, right? It makes me curious. If you are saying, "Oh, I'm the home for you guys to, find where you are going to achieve what you want to achieve," how do you stay profitable? Like, what's your business model exactly? How do you keep the lights on again?
Yeah, that's an ongoing conversation. Yeah, and it's a very good one as well, because we're basically more like a social enterprise. So that means, of course, we're trying to make impact in the community, in the industry, but then we also need to make some form of profit to stay sustainable. And so that's why we are not just the community. We're beyond that. We do have a lot of products in the pipeline that that are in development, where we do intend to generate revenue from. Also, we are rendering services that will be paid for with time as the market matures. Because currently, if you look at the industry, it's almost like a chicken and egg problem. Our main customers, our main clients, the main people we serve at the moment are the stakeholders, the game developers, the game studios. But for us to be able to monetize from them, they themselves need to be able to generate revenue, right? So we've spent the last 4 years, basically, since 2020, trying to create that structure and understand the industry deeply. And I would say to a very large extent, we have achieved that. So we say from 2024 down to 2027, that's phase 2 for Africa Comicade. The way we operate, the way we do things is no more as before. And we're doing things bigger and better, definitely. For example, right now we are on the talent side, on the talent development side, we are building the talent workforce for the future of the games industry, looking at animation, games, and the likes. Okay. On the studio side, we are currently running a fellowship that's going to connect game development studios to stakeholders who are looking to invest in the sector, who are looking to publish games, right? And for all of this, there is a business model around. I can't say it. If I say it, the NDA and lawyers would come for me. We started putting systems in place, if not fully focused on making a lot of profit, but being able to generate enough revenue to continue what we're doing. And we also have some products that we're developing. I believe by the end of this year, we'll be launching some of them. This would help us generate revenue as an organization to keep doing what we're doing, because it's very important for an industry like this to survive. There needs to be exchange of value. Yeah. And one of the most common value that is needed to drive this industry forward is financial resources. And we can't keep on going around begging for money or support. Okay. At some point, the industry itself has to sustain itself, generate money, and value itself, especially if we want other sectors to value us.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are very, very critical points you make. And I know you've talked about all the lawyers and stuff. I can somehow see a model, right? Especially from the talent bit of things, right? Because I look at, for example, I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with Andela, right? I look at Andela and I see how they were able to set up a talent pool that sort of projected the Nigerian engineering community to the rest of the world, right? So people are running down to Nigeria to, get the best developers, the best engineers for products that they are working on, right? I somehow see you guys replicating this model, but like for the gaming industry. If I know that I'm coming to Africa Comicade and I'm going to get the best hands in Africa, that are 3D designers, 3D developers, animators, Unity engineers and developers for Africa, that makes your community a very, very valuable one, right? Both to the developers and to the talents that you're helping to connect to businesses and games and companies that need them, but as well to the companies as well, right? And I really see like a very good model. This is just from the talent bit of things now. I can imagine what other things you guys have in store. So like absolutely brilliant one, right? I'm I'm actually happy to hear that, right? Because I know a few years ago I was asking myself, why wasn't there a community for motion designers, right? Something like the Andela model as well. Just because I was a motion designer at the time. God, I've done so many things in this life. I was a motion designer at the time, and I was trying to figure out a place to meet other Nigerians and a place to be able to get access to opportunities, right? So seeing that there's something like this being built for like people in the gaming space, I think it's a wonderful move. I think it's going to be very, very valuable. So you guys just keep up what you're up to, and looking forward to see how it turns out. Yeah. So I think that the next thing for me I'm curious about is, what would you guys say is the next step or the next big thing that needs to happen to open the doors? What's the next big thing that needs to happen to open the doors to the business side of the gaming community in Africa? Right. What I mean by this is, what do you guys think needs to happen? Because at the start of this call, Tony was talking about how was calling big numbers, saying billions and billions of dollars. I'm sure everybody here wants those billions and billions of dollars to pass through their company. And don't get me wrong, the gaming industry is a very, very, very big one, right? And Africa's gaming community is also one of the fastest growing ones, particularly in the mobile industry, right? So, but I know that we're not there yet, but this is the start of a new year. So I think, what would you guys say needs to happen to break into that next level? So Suzan, do you want to go first? Tell us about what you think.
Wow. That's an
intense question, right?
So in fact, so in terms of what I think we need to do first in Africa, I think education is extremely important. Okay. For every industry, mostly in the entertainment industry, from sports to film. If you look at music, if you look at how these ecosystems have been able to make money, right? Everyone sort of had to. Those who eventually brought in the money are those who first of all understood the industry before everyone started to see, why they should put some money, in this space. Yes, we have people globally who are looking into the market. Nigeria, for one, if you look at the economy, Nigeria, for one, is a very unique environment. You can't exactly apply. Yeah. You can't apply
normal world approaches. Yeah.
Even in other African countries, strategies that you use in other African countries would exactly work in Nigeria. So first, we're thankful for the kind of community that we have, and the work that every other person is putting in. I think there needs to be that support for those who are already working on that, because a lot of people are doing trial and error, right? What exactly would work in this market? And for those who are still figuring things out, those are people that probably need the push more, right? And then of course, when more people also start coming in, people have different ideas. I think collaboration, partnerships, those kind of things would work. I know that some people have been born within this space, within our small space, as small as the gaming industry is born
too. I know.
In Nigeria. But I don't think people also stop trusting. I think we just find the right balance in which we can all collaborate. For information that are peculiar to your organization, I don't think you should divulge everything, because sometimes we tend to jump into, I'm partnering with this person, and then if this person, you don't know if that other person has ideas. Ideas are, a million and one, right? So if I'm going to itemize it, I'll just say, first of all, if they're external investors, just look at people who have already started creating a very unique path in, Africa or in Nigeria, and just see how to, if you have 100,000, see if you can start by supporting them with 10,000. Right? Okay. Just saying. And then the other part will be for everyone who's willing to come into this space. It's a long road, right? It's not a sprint. Don't look at the game industry as a sprint. So look at ways to collaborate with other people, and people should be more open to partnerships. I know a lot of people who, you talk to them, partnership is not in their
so how much is this making me? That's the next question.
Exactly. Yeah, but then I believe that there's a healthy balance between, there should be a healthy balance between passion and, profit, right? Okay. Because if you're too passionate, you'll be broke.
Right.
And we need money to be able to do the work that we do, right? So there should be a healthy balance,
Okay. That's actually very fair. Very, very fair point. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, Shola, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, what would open the doors for opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So I think the first step is because before I even started making games, People have been, I think there are some few people are making games you get. And one thing I noticed is they were really loud about it. They really put themselves out there, because one thing I've noticed about we game devs in Nigeria is, aside from the fact that we are not really making money, so but it's still all based on the fact that we are not that visible.
Okay.
You get, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. For instance, what Africa Communicate is doing is like creating that exposure for game developers. Most people didn't expect what happened at the last game-a-thon. That they didn't expect to see that much game devs, and even after the game-a-thon, after some people won prizes at the game-a-thon, we still went for other competition. There are lots of competitions that Nigerian game developers. There are a lot of success stories. So I think if we can like bump up more on the success stories, and we can only get that if we expose ourselves, because I think sometimes we kind of undermine what we have in terms of work. We are not really there yet in terms of the polish of, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we have the team that is strong enough to make a God of War, a Modern Warfare, or a Fortnite yet. But we've seen a lot of successful small games on the stores as well. We've seen Flappy Bird. No, nobody can tell me that we can't have even a junior game developer make a game like Flappy Bird, and the game was insanely successful. So I think it all boils down to finding ways to kill obscurity, and that's why we need to support more companies like what Oscar is doing, like Africa Communicate, Play. There is Louis as well with is it Playverse, or what was it called? Oscar, help me out here. Oscar, is Oscar here? Yeah, is Playverse?
Yeah, I believe that's what you want to say.
No, that's not Playverse. That's not Playverse. Playverse is is something else. Okay, so but you understand, we just need more exposure. We need to put out, because there's a beat for people need to be more educated and improving their skill set, which is like normal. It's even happening in every industry, even the established ones, the developed countries too. They are still improving on their skill set, so we can't rule that out. But what we currently have, what are we doing with it? We need to really put it out there. You understand? Like, the games. Look at what the guys are doing with Legends of the Orisha, and thanks to Oscar, thanks to even them as well. They are relentless. They've been pushing their game really well, and we see what Raven Illusion is doing as well. That's I think the team is less than 5. You understand? Wow. These are people that are less than 5 in their team, and they are doing remarkable stuff as well. So we have a lot of small guys. Although a lot of people are working in silos, which is expected, but I'm seeing a lot of small collaborations that we also need to shine more light on. You understand? Like, if we can let more people know about this success story. Okay, it's not just Malio, it's not just Deluxe, it's not just Kuluya, it's not. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Let people know that there are a lot more players in this space, and they are doing remarkable stuff. They are doing great stuff.
Yeah.
Then more people will come into this, because I went for a program last year, and the look I saw on a lot of people's faces is they didn't really expect Nigerians to be making games. Like, so I remember when I made that brush, and then I was doing a lot of marketing myself.
Okay.
So I was in the bus one day, and I was trying to convince a lady that was playing Candy Crush on that level. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But in terms of, because quality is different from gameplay. When we talk about quality now, it's on different levels. You can see quality in terms of depth of the game, the gameplay, quality in terms of the design, quality in terms of the art. You understand? So there are different levels to it, and there are different ways to perceive quality. But I was pitching to this lady, please play my art. She didn't believe that I made that game. I can remember I was telling her how I made this game, and she said, no, do they make games like that? And I had to go to the credits menu and show her my name and the name of other Nigerians that are there. You understand? So we need to make people, we need to let people know that we do these things. So I can assure you that it might be a lot harder to convert Nigerians to download Nigerian-made games, because they don't even believe that. But once Nigerians know, you can see the way Nigerians are behaving because of our AFCON and the way they push the national team. So Nigerians are they like the tribe thing. They like to push things. So they like the hype. So we can put more hype behind our project and our studios, and it all boils down to having more influencers and giving the current ones more power. You understand? People like Africa Communicate, people like Louis, like ecosystem players. If we can get more support from us, even with game developers and Nigerians and entertainers, I believe we can really open doors for our industry.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I also think it's not just down to the big name players or the influencers to put out exposures. I think everybody needs to blow their own trumpet a little bit more, right? As no matter how little you are, no matter how small what you think you're doing is, put it out there, talk about it, put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram, like brag that you're working on, right? Let everybody know that this thing is there, this thing exists, somebody's working on something like this, and you just really never know, who's watching or how far a video you might put out on something that you're working out on would go. All right, so absolutely, you're right. I think Nigerian devs, particularly with the gaming industry, tend to just work in their very quiet box, right? So everybody needs to talk a bit more about what they're about, right? Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Oscar, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, for us to move the industry forward, the one sincere pathway I see is for us to invest in the studios. There's no two ways about it. Yes, a lot of people are doing trainings. We are also doing trainings as well. We're also looking at that approach of, from the training itself, generating revenue and making it like a circular economy. Basically, all the things we do as a circular flow where we are feeding into one another. But the simple truth is, the only way the industry can generate money is by us building profitable studios. And the only way the studios can become profitable is by them having the resources they need to make games that have a potential of making profit. The more game developers we have will just equate to more burnouts in the sector. But then if we have more successful game studios, more successful IPs, what would happen is those studios would look to expand, right? Yeah. They would upgrade their project. By doing that, they will need more creatives to work with them. Not just from the game development side, from the marketing side, the communication side. You get the idea. Yeah. And with that business, we will build an ecosystem that way. We will build an industry. And that's why we are putting the ARC Fellowship at the forefront of what we do. If we can get studios, maybe 10, to raise 50K, 20K, 100K, they would use that. They would employ people. Other game developers would have jobs. They will be able to promote their games. And this is the number one way I see we can support the stakeholder. That's why we organize events like the Gamerthon. That's why we attend other events, partner events, so that we can create avenues for people to see that there are stakeholders working here, for people to interact with the stakeholders themselves and their projects, and find ways where we can create bridges for investments into this sector. So for me, investment in the game studios directly is the one way we can help this industry. Right now, there seems to be a rush into training. A lot of trainings have been done in the past. I've been training people in the games industry since 2015, right? And without a clear pathway for them to continue, it's really a waste of time. We are just taking people's years off them without a good pathway, if I can put it that way. If you're training them, where are the jobs? The global games industry is laying off thousands, not on thousands of people every day, right? And so we cannot all go out there looking for opportunities in a market that is already competitive. The best approach is for us to build our own market. And the only way you build our market is not by training another 1 million game developers. No, it's by supporting the game studio founders that are already existing with enough resources so that they can build their games. And they would there's no how, they would recruit, they would expand their teams. And that is how we grow the sector. The other thing I would like to say once more is, I think Shola did make mention of that. That is for us to see how we can, I wouldn't just say publicity, I would say promote the sector. Promote the sector and the activities happening therein. We need to raise more awareness about this industry. We need to network with people outside this sector and collaborate. One thing that is slowing the growth of our sector is a bulk of the stakeholders in the Nigerian, in the African video games industry are game developers. Yeah. And this, the way technical people work. There's a way technical people approach things. We need more business people. That's one wonderful thing about Suzan. Like you can see, as is not saying game studio, game company, because they do a lot. And if you look into their profile and their works, you see they are working with more companies, not traditionally in the games industry. And they are taking gaming to those places successfully. That's because she understands the business lingo. She knows how to build those partnerships. Whereas a lot of game studios with awesome projects, they find it difficult to sell their value to stakeholders outside the games industry. And that's something we need to break out. So we need more people from marketing, from business, from finance, from legal, working hand in hand with the stakeholders to see how we can grow this sector. Because the only reason I am here is there's a lot of money to be made if it becomes successful. You get my point. Yeah. So we're sleeping on it, and we need to work hand in hand. Yes, I think Suzan wants to say something.
Yes, I think you just hit the nail on the head. And like you mentioned, when it comes to when people are talking about the game development industry, people only think about the programming bit, right? I was talking to you a while back about how even the meat of the game, the design part, right? How many people can confidently come out and say, I'm a designer, right? Because first, yes, you have the programmers. The other programmers are being forced to become designers. Yeah. And then when we're looking at the marketing, like Shola rightly said, when it comes to promotions, first of all, we have to give it to Africa Communicate, right? A lot of the work that people are doing, because people are in their silos, working individually on their games, some people don't even have the strength for marketing. Marketing is a whole different conversation. It's great to have platforms like Africa Communicate actually shine the light, go to other events and say, do you know what, there's this event happening, everybody come there so other people can experience your game. And there's something I think we can also try out in the gaming industry from the film industry, mostly when it comes to investment for game studio founders. A lot of times you see studios like Griot Studios where you have a film coming out and you try to get project financing, right? Financing for your film, right? And then people invest in that particular project that you're doing so that you can create, you have the opportunity to build out the game and have money for marketing, have money to hire the right team as well. And then when it comes to marketing, there's something I learned when I was in film school. It was the fact that when it comes to every Ebony Live film, go and check it, every Ebony Live film that comes out, right, a year before they start production, they've already started marketing. If you've purchased a book by maybe the rights to a particular book from a popular writer, they would announce that there's going to be a film, an adaptation of this book, or something, right? They would have started putting the word out there, right? Marketing starts from the very beginning, not at the end when you finish developing. So those are the other things I wanted to mention.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. These are very, very awesome points. I'm a very huge advocate for marketing yourself, marketing your work, right? Because no matter how good you are at what you're doing, if you don't shout about it, if you don't blow your trumpet about it, well, you're just going to be in your corner. Maybe your family and friends would download or buy your film or play your games, and that would be about it, right? You have to find creative ways to put yourself in front of the people that you want to try out the stuff that you're putting out. Yeah, so you guys are absolutely right about the need to do better with marketing what you're trying to sell, about the need to invest in current stakeholders. I think that's also a very, very key point for all of this, right? So we are about 4 minutes from the end of our show, right? And I just want to ask a simple question. I think everybody should please take less than a minute to answer. I think that a lot of the challenges that we face as well sometimes revolve around people building for Nigeria or building for Africa. Like our Afrobeats and music and movies now, you see it's become like an export, right? It's a very, very, very lucrative export. How can gamers, game studios, game companies position themselves to sell their services or sell their games or what they're about to an audience that is beyond Nigeria? I think that might be a very big way to drive interest back down to what we are doing here, because we know Nigerians are people that consume international content, right? The more your content has some sort of validation from places outside of the continent, the more people tend to take you seriously here. So what do you think we need to do to push our work, push the things that we do there to get the interest of people outside of our borders? So please, if everybody could take a minute each to just answer that would be so awesome. Edu, do you want to go first?
Oh yeah. I could just go first. I like what you said about Nigerians liking contents that are already popular outside, which is kind of the attitude. So and it's just something that is unique to us. And we, like I've always said, we really want to solve our own problem. We have to come up with our own solutions. Like straight again. So, but based on the first thing you said, which is how do we get that game? Like for us at Deluxe, I would say 90% of our audience and people who have downloaded our games are from outside Africa. Let me even put it that way. So we have Brazil, US, and even most of the revenue generated are from outside. In terms of games, are from outside Nigeria. So I think for games, it's really global. Like when you make a game and you put it on a store, as long as it's not like a store that is limited to Africans, you'd always get audience from outside. As long as you're able to get some level of organic audience and traffic to it. And the marketing and the promotion, then the PR is has more opportunities for our space. Yeah. So I think for me, the audience have always been global. To be honest.
Okay. That's fair. That's good to hear. Oscar, what do you think? Please remember we have less than a minute each.
Sure. I'll build upon the fact that the audience has always been global because it has to. The audience being Africa is not yet stable yet. There's not a lot of disposable income. So what I would just say needs to be done is also understand the audience. Whilst you are targeting the global market, we need to play with data. I don't think a lot of people do their research. A lot of the projects built are built based on emotional basis, what you like, what you love, your passion, you get. But if you want to sell, you need to sell what people are looking out for. So even if you're starting from what you are deeply interested in or passionate about, carry out research, go into the market, do your analytics, carry out A/B testing to know if the market really loves this. And as Suzan said, from day one, start marketing. Marketing, letting people know that this is what you are doing, getting feedback from people to improve your product. That's just what I would say. Let them get involved in research and conversing with their intended audience online. Yep.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Suzan, your thoughts?
All right. First, I think when you're developing games, first is a mindset thing. You need to be able to look beyond your emotions and talk about and target. If you're targeting a global audience, know that you're building this game to target a global audience. All right. A lot of people do not understand some of the colloquial grammar or the history of some of the stories we're trying to communicate. So just understand your audience, like Oscar said. Second is collaborations and partnerships. If you're trying to build, a game for the global market, most especially when you've not really understood how others are getting it done. If you're able to see how to collaborate with other people, if you're able to get publishing deals, please go for it. For us, for example, we're a part of a global network where if I design a game for corporate, I can pass it through a global network of over 50 companies, right? That strengthens an opportunity for me to earn royalties from my game. So how can you also leverage on those kind of partnerships to create more opportunities for your game?
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for those insights, everybody. This has been a very, very, very entertaining and good learning experience for me as well, who loves games, right? So I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Our audience who have listened in on the call, thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to pass the microphone now to Tony.
Thank you very much, Chima. Big thanks actually to Oscar for bringing everyone to the table to have this particular conversation, and I look forward to having more of these discussions through the year, and I really hope that I can get everyone to the table, but virtually like this, and maybe physically when we have events through the year, bring in more guys, have more conversations about these things. While we're having events, we'll be having podcast discussions by the side, or like intense conversations by the side, and just keep talking about it until we cannot stop talking about it again. Thank you again to the able moderator, Chima Ifeji. Thank you to everyone on the call. Thank you to everyone who's listened. This is like the wrap up or the outro of this special episode. This is the first time actually that I would be having someone else besides Tony moderate a session on Tony's tech side, and I'm really happy that it's Chima.
Well, welcome to Chima's
who did
tech
the
side.
honors. Thank you, Chima, for doing the honors.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And I hope to really have, I think, more of this. This usually just happens when we're like, when it's like a physical thing, and then you have like someone who is like saying, yeah, I'm like the MC for the day, and then just like a moderator for like a session. And Chima's really handled it well. I'm really impressed. Chima, major takeaways from both conversations. For me, I would say data from the first and the second. From the first one, I kind of like found out that we need to be more intentional about having actionable data here, localized, right? And the second is we need to use data that we have to create products, right? Or we need to use put the data to use more if we're going to really scale. What were your major takeaways?
Well, I think for the first session we had with Spectre, Tushimi, and Obina, it was just more and more enlightening for me about the prospects of how exciting our industry, the gaming ecosystem is going to be in the coming year. Right, like they mentioned on the show, we've had lots of partnerships over the last year or two. We've had new servers opening up. We have the introduction of the 5G network in Nigeria. So I think for me, it's mostly excitement than lesson learned. It's mostly excitement for what the year would hold for us, and what the coming year would hold. Like interesting times, really. Yeah. And then for the second conversation that we had as well, I came into the call thinking, there are not a lot of Nigerian startups or Nigerian game companies aren't really looking at console gaming or PC gaming, and they're all focused on mobile. But it turns out that isn't the case, right? Okay. And that's interesting to know, knowing that there are companies out there who are working on telling Nigerian stories and creating Nigerian games focused on servicing PC and console players, right? That's very interesting to see, and I'm really, really excited for what those guys are up to, right? I can't wait to see what they come up with. They say they have a game coming out in December, right? So Deluxe Gaming, so you guys, check them out. I'm really excited for what they have there. Yeah.
What predictions would you want to make?
I would say more people are going to get into mobile gaming.
Okay. The
cost of console gaming is not going down anytime soon.
Okay.
I sold my PlayStation 4 for 140,000 last year, around July.
Okay.
Right. It was used, obviously, so I sold it for 140,000 naira. Then currently used ones are going for 280,000 naira.
That's double
300,000.
Wow.
So it's crazy. You can imagine what the cost of brand new ones would then be. Whoa. Right. I was saving to get a PS5, which was around 450 at the time. It's now 650. Right. So it's the whole inflation thing would make getting access to a console much more difficult. So I just know that people are going to just get more into mobile gaming, and there are lots of good gaming games in mobile to enjoy, really, right? So there's that, and of course, like we had the server things for games like Call of Duty coming to Nigeria late last year. So I'm expecting a big boom. I'm expecting Nigerians to win tournaments. I'm expecting to see headlines about the awesomeness of Nigerian gamers across these communities. So exciting year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We look forward to a very, very exciting year. Thank you. Keep listening to Africa Tech Radio.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.